So I had a few questions about the spare wheel for the MG5. So I'm going to show you my solution, but of course there's many other options out there available as well. So this is the spare wheel that I've put in there. It's actually a Mercedes spare wheel. This one is a 125 wide tyre, 90 profile, and it's a 16-inch rim. I need to now bolt it on and make sure and verify it definitely will work. The reason I went for this size is that the boot floor will sit down perfectly flush with a 125 tyre on there. And actually I tried a few different wheels. This is the original MG fitting that holds the wheel down, but also the shape of this wheel, you can see that it doesn't protrude very much, whereas some wheels, they do protrude a lot. So this one has quite what is known as quite a low offset, so it sticks out a bit further than some of the other Space Savers. I also tried some in here with a slightly wider tyre, but even those with a 125 section tyre, if this section of wheel sticks out too much, the wheel was sitting too high, the board wasn't sitting flat. So this one sits really nicely on there, and the Mercedes part number is 20940000402. It's a 3.5 inch wide, 16 inch diameter, and it's ET17 offset. So we should try this on the car. Now I've brought here on the floor, I've got a few different options for the spare wheel jack that we'll use. So I've got a scissor jack and I've got a bottle jack. I've got two different types here. We're going to see what's going to work well on the seal. This is from a Mercedes A-Class, a Mercedes ML, Mercedes C-Class, and I have no idea where this one's come from, to be honest. Had it years. So we're going to try these options, see which one lifts the MG well, and make sure that this wheel bolts on properly. So let's do it. All right, let's give that a try, see if that fits the car nicely now. Probably tidy the edges up a little bit. Right.
Yeah, I'm nervous on the surface, I look fine. My brain feels heavy, my traumatized mind. And I'm so tired, I can't feel my eyes. Whoa, whoa.
Well, there's a few things you need to be aware of if you're planning on using Mercedes wheels on the MG5. First of all, the centre bore, which is this size here, which centralises and locates the wheel on the hub before you bolt it down. It's 57.1 millimetres on this car, which is the same as the VW group cars, which you can't see are out of shot, but it's different to Mercedes. So although the bolt pattern is the same on the Mercedes, you'll have to use what's known as a spigot ring. It's basically just like a little locating spacer, and this adapts the 57.1 centre bore up to 66.6, which is used on Mercedes and the bigger VW group cars. Some of the bigger Audis and stuff use it as well. The other thing that you'll have to be aware of, which isn't a big issue on a steel Space Saver, but you might, hopefully you can see that, this is the bolt from the MG. This has got a tapered seat on it, so you can see it's just tapered at a straight angle. And if you compare that to the Mercedes bolts, those are radius head bolts or radius shoulder bolts, and so they have a you know, they're like smoothed off like a circle. That's why they're called radius, because it's a radius, and these are just tapered in one line. So for the wheels to properly be torqued correctly, you need to have the right bolts for the right wheels. And for the Mercedes wheel, I've got these bolts, so they're the same length, they're the same M14 thread. Some of the smaller cars have M12 threaded bolts, so it's something else to be aware of. If I pop this on here now with my little spigot ring, there we go. So it's got absolutely loads of room between the brake caliper, miles away from the suspension, clears the arches. So at that size, that offset and that stud pattern, you could put on any of these spare wheels and not really have any issues. Unless you've got a Mercedes wheel kicking around, the cost-effective way to do it is to buy one of the VW Group's Space Saver kits, because it comes with a nice foam insert and wheel brace and all of those kind of things. Most of the Mercedes wheels don't come with that, and the VW Group ones, you pick them up for like 50 quid second hand, whereas the Mercedes ones, they are more expensive and you'll kind of have to piece one together. For me, because of my line of business and because I have loads of stuff like this sat around, the Mercedes wheel doesn't cost me anything at all and does the job perfectly as a get out of jail free card for a long trip. Okay, did we cover everything? We know about spigot rings, we know about wheel bolts, we know the stud pattern 5x112, and the offset on this one is ET17, which is perfect inside the arches and loads of room from the suspension. You could get away with a 15-inch or a 17-inch Space Saver, but I think this is probably the perfect size. What did I say it was? 125 90 16, and probably something to be aware of if you do want to mount this face down with the original MG mounting bolt, then you probably want to get one that is quite flat, and that's one of the reasons why this is one of the best wheels, because it has a much better shape. I did look at a few dozen of them in person, but this one was by far the best. All right, okay, I'll quickly show you how this all fits in the boot. Anyway, so wheel face down. Let's just pop that up there for a second. Then my jack, my modified Mercedes ML jack, which actually works really well. And because it's designed for such a big, heavy car, this lifts it nice and high, nice and easily. No struggle there. Pop that right to the back. I'm probably going to get something to wrap around that so it doesn't rattle around or hit anything. Then if you have a look down here, it's the original MG towing eye, emergency towing eye. This is my spigot ring and my 5 wheel bolts, along with a wheel brace, all going to go in this tool wrap here to stop this all knocking together and hitting each other. But this all, for the sake of the video, let's just quickly chuck that. We're not going to need this can of goop and this air compressor, but there is still room for it. This sits down here, and then the wheel can sit here. We pop the original threaded, pop that in there, and then what I'm actually keeping in the middle is this cable here. Keep that in the middle. This cable also did fit by putting the 2 ends down here and wrapping the cable around here. So if you've got something else you want to go in the middle, then that's fine. What about it's always handy to keep a spare compressor. Does that? Doesn't quite fit. It's not quite flush with the floor. If we loosen that off and adjust it over a little bit, because we've got a little bit of wiggle room to play with. And we're not quite there. Oh, there we go. Okay, so it will go. If you put the air compressor in first, then you can get everything you need. So we've got jack, wheel brace, different wheel bolts, spigot ring, air compressor, charge lead. I think that just about wraps us up, doesn't it? Hope that's helpful to someone. If it is, then give us a thumbs up, and you might want to subscribe for more stuff. If this is totally useless and not helpful to you at all, then of course give us a thumbs down and write in the comments why you think we're useless. Thanks for watching. Bye.